Hey guys, Edgar here. Guns for everyone. I was at the office doing some admin stuff. We had a competition over the weekend and kind of getting all of that squared away with administrative stuff. And one of the things that came up in the competition afterwards, one of the gentlemen, fucking, he scored zero in the competition for the Concealed Carry Cup. Our competition, we essentially play golf. That's what we do is we play golf in terms of scoring. In terms of scoring, so the scoring is, if you get zero, you win. The higher the number, the shittier you are. But anyways, this individual, he scored zero, so he did fucking phenomenal. At the end of the class, I'm sorry, the competition, he brought up the training tools. He said, "Hey, just FYI," and it was, I think, four of us at that point. Most everybody had already taken off, but he says, "Hey, I understand why some people would be kind of hurt or scared or offended or what have you by you using the training tool to do demonstrations while you're facing their direction, because we use training tools. This is what we use, training tools. This one's for the office, and then we have some for the field. And we tell people, obviously it's fake. Like, this is clearly not a gun, and we tell people, hey, this is not a gun, because we deal with people that are frequent the Reddit places, and people on Reddit are not necessarily the brightest all the time. Um, but we tell them, hey, I'm going to use training tools because I can't, if I do this, okay, so now I want you to do this, and now I need you to do this. We don't do a lot of demonstrations. For sure, in classes, we don't do a lot of demos because we don't like to teach by demoing stuff as much as we possibly can. Every once in a while, we have to demo some stuff, or somebody asks a question and it warrants the use of a training tool. Sometimes we don't have training tools, and we'll have frames, just frames, that we can use as well. Um, but the training tools are valuable. If I want to demo something and I need to demonstrate something to you, or you have a question, this allows me to show you what I want you to do with the pew pew, and it allows me to have you see it. If I wanted to show you finger placement, because you asked a question about finger placement, me doing this with the real gun, or not having a generally safe direction available to me, except having it here where you can actually see it. And in order for you to see it, I might have to be pointing it where some other students might be at. This is not real. This is not a real gun. It's weird. Isaac and I just did a podcast of humans actually pointing guns at each other in a run and gun type stuff, and how society has become okay with people pointing guns at each other as long as we're doing really tactical shit. But if somebody does a demo for the purposes of teaching you with a blatantly fake fucking gun, people would get offended about that shit. Like, it's weird. It's people are absolutely weird. And then where do we draw the line, right? Because somebody made a valid point in that conversation. Well, like, I get it if somebody's new and that looks like a gun and it's shaped like a gun, and like, at what point where do we draw the line? Where is that line drawn? Like, is this where we draw the line? Is this where we draw the line? Like, where do we draw the line on what's real and what's fake? And then where do we just become a society where we just educate humans and say, cool, I get it, but this is the education. Like, if I'm doing this is a fake gun. How long until I just stop coddling your fucking feelings, and how long until we just stop the insanity and just say, hey, it's a fucking fake gun. This is not real. I actually had a lady walk out on me on a class one time because she was talking about how her kids have toy guns, And when her kids play with toy guns, she forces them to use the Nerf guns and that type of stuff. She forces them to use them like real guns. So I said, well, that sucks for the kids that they can't use Nerf guns as they're intended to use, and that's shoot the shit out of people. If I have a Nerf gun, it is a toy, and it was designed for me to shoot little foam darts at other humans. That's the whole point of a Nerf gun. But to her, she was like, no, they need to. It looks like a gun and it has a trigger, so they could only shoot it in a safe direction. And she blurted out the rules. I'm like, no, that's not something we agree on. And I'm happy to have a conversation with you about this because kids should be kids, and kids should play with toys. Kids should not be taught that toys are real guns and that real guns are toys, because if toys are real guns, then real guns are toys. Like at some point the brain needs to make a separation between this is fucking fake, this is a plastic, this is no pew pew, it's you can't take the mag out, can't chamber around, that's fake. I use this as a training tool. Or a child should be able to distinguish this is a Nerf gun, and then the gun that dad has, the gun that mom has, that shit's real. I need to respect that one. That one has consequences. This is fun. This is, yay, I get to be a kid. This is, I get to train humans. I get to teach humans, and humans get to see what I'm trying to look at. And sometimes I have to teach certain humans how to see the sights and how to align them and do the notch thing and all that stuff. And that muzzle's pointed at me, but it's not a muzzle. It's fucking fake. So like at what point do we draw that line? At what point do we tell humans, hey, let's be real, and let's actually accept that this is a training tool, and let's teach humans that this is a training tool. This is for training, and I'm going to do demos with a training tool. That's what I'm going to do. That's literally what a fucking training tool is for, is to help train, whether it be yourself or other humans and all that stuff. So it was a good conversation. These humans brought up stuff that comes up quite frequently, more than it needs to be honest with you. But it wasn't a bad conversation. It was a good conversation, and in many occasions, a conversation that's needed to be had. But at some point, this conversation should no longer exist. This idea that a training tool still scares people in 2025. By the way, it's scaring people. It's scaring people who are going on the internet calling other people snowflakes. It's scaring people that go on the internet and say, you fucking libtard, or you fucking snowflake. This is what scares you. Big and tough on the internet, telling other people that they're fucking snowflakes and they're this and that, and calling them names and all that shit. Um, and then a training tool hurts your feelings. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. You can't call people snowflakes and then you be a snowflake because of a training tool. But more importantly, is training tools are necessary. Training tools are super important in teaching other humans. I don't like dry firing because this doesn't have recoil. I have a CERT gun that I use. CERTs don't have recoil, but CERT guns or these guns are really good for learning how to draw from the holster, presenting from the holster, working on my high compress ready, working on my extension, and I have the tool, right? Like the finger gun can only do so much. I don't know if I have proper grip with the finger gun. I don't know if I have proper kinesthetic alignment with the finger gun. With this, I can actually show you proper kinesthetic alignment. I can show you um, aiming versus sighting, right? There's a big difference between aiming and sighting. I can show you all of this stuff with this firearm, because it's a training tool. It's not a gun. It's a training tool. It's not a gun. So we need to get to a point where we're understanding that there is a difference between something that is fake and something that is real. And I think at this point I refuse to cater to the batshit crazy of humans that don't understand the difference between what is real and what is not. This is not real. This is not a gun. This is meant for demos. In fact, I can go through TSA, and I have. I've taken my training tools. Um, they fucking ask questions. They for sure ask questions. But I've taken training tools. I'm not telling you to do it because I don't know if I just got lucky or what have you. But I have taken my training tools on airplanes with me on carry-ons, and I've never been arrested. I've never had one taken away. That's me. I'm not saying it won't happen to you, and I'm not encouraging you to do that shit. But this right here is something that has traveled with me, and I don't have to declare it. I don't have to fill out a little form and shit like that because this is not a fucking gun. So I use that as a training tool. So we have to get to that point where we're adults about this shit, and training tools are necessary, and I get to do shit with training tools that I would never do with the real gun. And again, it's weird that you will watch people doing tactical room clearing stuff with firearms pointed at the Grant camera person or firearms pointing at each other, real guns. And you'll say, "This is cool. This is awesome. Tattoos, naked people, yay!" But if you want to teach humans how to properly defend themselves with the training tool, um, all of a sudden it's not correct. So we need to do better as humans. We need to do better in the gun industry. These are training tools, not a gun, not a gun. Those are training tools. So, anyways, yeah, I'm umming way too fucking much. So I think I've made my point. I think I've said what I wanted to say. I'm gonna get back to doing some admin stuff. Hopefully, this shit made sense. Hopefully, you guys have words to say about that stuff. We got to get to a point where like we get it. I understand why new people who have never shot guns before might be like, "What the fuck?" But then you tell them really quickly, "Hey, this is reality. This is life. This is how it actually works." And then hopefully from that point, because we see this a lot, right? Like we see a lot of humans wanting us to bend to their wills because of their feelings, and feelings are real to you, but they're not real in the grand scheme of things. This you might feel like it's a real gun, but in reality, it's not a real gun. So like your feelings at some point have to be checked, and your feelings at some point have to be reevaluated and confronted. My feelings all the fucking time. I love a pity party. Ask Isaac, ask my wife. I fucking love a pity party. But that's not real. That shit, I need to fucking get out of that and snap out of that motherfucker whenever I start getting into this pity party. I just seen Isaac has a lot of videos that are doing significantly better than my videos. Shit hurts my feelings, and it's easy for me to get into this feelings and emotions, but that's just not real. I just need to snap the fuck out of that shit because my feelings ain't fucking real. They're based off of traumas, they're based off of dumb shit. This might make you feel a certain way, but you gotta quit being fucking dumb about that shit because this, regardless of how you feel, is not a real gun. Is not a real gun. And we just need to do better about that shit. So, anyways, peace.